Hello again, everybody. I would once again like to welcome you to the 2012 Hamilton City School District Athletic Hall of Fame induction ceremony. My name is Steve Vaughn, News Director of WMOH Radio, 1450 The Ticket, and it is my honor to be your Master of Ceremonies tonight. Now, before we get started, I'd like to bring Hamilton High School Athletic Director Mike De La Pena to the front, and he will present tonight the Coach Sharp Scholarships. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I had to promise Patty and Seth that I would not knock them off the edge, or Angie and Seth. I'd like to welcome everybody to this evening's event, and I would especially like to congratulate everyone that's seated up here before you. It's a tremendous honor, and we're all very proud to have you as members of the Hall of Fame. Tonight, I will be presenting the Coach Bill Sharp Scholarship. And for those of you who don't remember Coach Sharp was a teacher and coach in Hamilton for 45 years. Also was an active leader in the Hamilton Parks and Recreation Department. During that time, he was a fitness instructor at the Hamilton Central Y for nearly 20 years following his retirement from teaching. As a high school and college student, Coach participated in a variety of sports himself, was a member of a state championship basketball team in high school, excelled as a member of the track and baseball teams as well. And as a student at Ohio State University, he was a member of the track teams and the wrestling teams. Coach Sharp graduated from Ohio State in 1928, and he moved to Hamilton in 1930, where he spent the next 60 years impacting the lives of thousands of students and athletes. And he was known to everyone quite simply as Coach, and his devotion to sports and fitness was overshadowed only by his desire to help people be successful and realize their potential. Coach Sharp strongly emphasized a commitment to academic excellence, competing with honor, displaying good sportsmanship at all times. He was a small man in stature, but his actions and his positive attitude cast a large shadow as a role model for generations of Hamilton youth. The gymnasium at Garfield Middle School is named in his honor, and he was inducted into this very Hall of Fame in 1999. The Coach Sharp Scholarship is awarded each year to a senior male student and a senior female student at Hamilton High based upon some of the following criteria. The students must have earned at least 2 varsity letters during their senior year. They must have maintained a minimum of a 3.0 GPA. They must display also outstanding sportsmanship during competition and outstanding citizenship through community service. It's especially gratifying for me because Coach Sharp was my great uncle. He's represented here this evening by his son Jim Sharp, his Garfield class of 63, and his daughter Mary Ellen Elliott, Hamilton High class of 54. I'd like them to stand up. The 2 students that are the recipients of the Coach Sharp Scholarship are both now freshmen in college. They were awarded the scholarship last year as seniors. Our first recipient is Elizabeth Herzog. Elizabeth was a varsity volleyball and softball player at Hamilton High, and she is currently a student at Miami University majoring in early childhood education. Elizabeth Herzog. Our male recipient is Mr. Marcus Brody. Marcus was a member of our varsity football and basketball teams, earning all conference honors. Currently a student at the University of Cincinnati, majoring in pharmacy. Marcus Brody. Again, thank you all very much for attending this evening, and enjoy the festivities.
All right, thank you very much, Mike. At this time, we would like to ask all current members of the Hamilton City Schools Athletic Hall of Fame to please stand and be recognized. All those who are currently in the Hall of Fame out in the audience tonight. Good looking group of people. Well. And now, it's what we've been waiting for. Let's meet the 2012 Hall of Fame inductees. First on our list tonight Dewey Duke Baker graduated from Hamilton Taft High School in 1966 after playing basketball for 3 years under coach and fellow Hall of Famer Marv McCullum. In 1964, the Taft Tigers compiled an 11-7 record. In his junior year, the basketball team had a 19-4 record. Their winning streak of 12 games in a row was second only to the 27 straight wins for the state championship team of 1962. The Tigers were co-champions of the Greater Ohio League in Baker's senior year, boasting an 18-4 record. He was named to the All-GOL team. Baker is number 11 on Taft's all-time scoring list with 611 points as he played center and forward for the Tigers. He also played football for 3 years under coach and fellow Hall of Famer Fred Garrettson. Taft's football record in Baker's junior year was 7-2, the most successful in Taft's history at the time. He played both ways as an offensive tackle and defensive linebacker. He continued his football prowess at Eastern Kentucky University on a football scholarship, playing tight end. In his sophomore year, EKU won the Ohio Valley Conference and won the Grantland Rice Bowl with a victory over Ball State. Baker retired from the Hamilton City School District after teaching for 33 years. Ladies and gentlemen, Dewey Duke Baker. Mr. Baker will give his presentation from his seat tonight due to recent back surgery.
Okay, I guess I'm up. It's an honor to be inducted into the Hamilton City School District Hall of Fame, and I'd like to thank all of those who made tonight possible. I'd also like to congratulate the other inductees. In fact, the fathers of 2 of the inductees were my coaches, which brings me to the message I want to share tonight. I'm convinced I'm here because of the outstanding coaching ability and positive role modeling from the coaches I had. From Bill Wilkes to Fred Garrison, Marv McCollum, Jim Blount, Gus Mate, Winston Metcalf, Bill McCormick, Ron Couch, Mike DeStola, Pete Theobald. These men were not only great coaches, but exceptional human beings. I believe that my success I have had links back to my coaches and mentors. For me, they had left great memories and a lasting legacy. So I proudly accept this honor tonight on behalf of all of us. Thank you.
Congratulations, Mr. Baker. Raleigh Barton graduated from Hamilton High School in 1945 after he lettered 3 years in football, basketball, and baseball for the Big Blue. His football coach was fellow Hall of Famer Dana King, and his teammate was fellow Hall of Famer Floyd Breezy Reed. Barton was the starting catcher for Miami University's baseball team in 1946. Barton then graduated from Cedarville College, where he played football and baseball. He played minor league baseball for the Boston Red Sox from their farm system. He coached basketball at Urbana local schools, and his 1950 team, their record was 17-4 as they won the Champaign County Championship, and he was named Coach of the Year. His 1952 team won 25 and lost 4 as they advanced to the state Sweet 16 in Columbus. Again, he was named Coach of the Year. He came back to Hamilton to be the first basketball coach at the new Hamilton Garfield High School for 3 years. His 1960 team compiled a 14-9 record, and which was led by fellow Hall of Famers Ted Norris, Skip Taylor, and Dave Cannell. And they were the AA sectional champions. Barton also coached baseball with fellow Hall of Famer Jack Young. The 1964 Griffins won the Greater Ohio League Championship in 1961 with a 16-5 record. Once again, Barton was named Coach of the Year. He went to Xenia High School and coached from 1963 until 1979. Xenia's basketball teams were 14-4, both in 1963 and 1964. The 65 team had a 17-1 record as they won the Western Ohio League. His 1966 team went on to go 15-5, again winning the WOL, and he was once again named Coach of the Year. In 1969, they were the #1 team in the Miami Valley, as they were the district finalists. He was named Coach of the Year for the 6th time. Barton retired as the second winningest coach in Xenia history. And representing Raleigh Barton tonight is his son, Jeff Barton.
First of all, I'd like to thank the committee for voting my father in, and especially Jack Young, who's been instrumental in getting him elected to the Hall of Fame. This would have been the best honor my father could have received. He would have loved to have been here, believe me. He loved Hamilton. He bled blue. He was big blue all the way. It's a little different for me to speak tonight because I'm speaking not about myself, but about my father. So the one thing that's a fact about my father is he didn't have a very easy life growing up. His father died young. His mother remarried to someone who made it clear he didn't want him around. He left home at 15. He would work all morning in a bakery, go to school, play 3 different sports, and put himself all through high school. Normally that would be a great accomplishment, but not only did he put himself through high school, he also put himself through college. He would do basically the same thing in college. He went his first year to Miami. He was made the starting catcher on the baseball team, where a man named Ara Parseghian was the star pitcher on that team. Unfortunately, after the first year, he couldn't afford it, so he ended up at Cedarville College. In between that, he had another friend who went to Hamilton High, who was a few years younger than him by the name of Joe Nuxall. When Joe Nuxall tried out for the Reds and made it, he took my dad as his personal catcher because he didn't want anybody else catching for him. He went on to Cedarville High School, graduated in 4 years with a lot of other fellow Hamiltonians that were there. Every stop that my father had in his coaching career, he had success. Even the first year that he coached at Urbana Local in the 49-50 season, they won their league, and he was named Coach of the Year. Over the years, he was named various Coach of the Years, whether it be league, district, or states. He was named Coach of the Year over 12 times. He also is in the Ohio State High School Coach Hall of Fame. He's put up with a lot of adversity in his life, even in the last few years that he was coaching before he retired with the Xenia Tornado, where they had to work out of a junior high and also out of the old ONSSO home, which was an orphanage home that Jack Young and he allowed him to use the gym on some of the nights when they weren't there. He also became school board vice president and president after he retired from 1980 to 1988. And even when he became ill and they only gave him 6 months to a year to live, he stretched it out to 3.5 years. So he had quite a few accomplishments in his life, but I know if he was around today, this would probably be the happiest accomplishment he had. So I just want to say thank you for nominating and voting him into the Hall of Fame. He would have loved this. Thank you.
Guy to my left, Brett Couch. When you turn 29, these things start going, you know. Brett Couch graduated from Hamilton Garfield High School in 1980. After playing football for 3 years under head coach and fellow Hall of Famer Leonard Rush. He also participated in track. He received the Top Offensive Lineman Award and was named to the All-Greater Miami Conference team, All-Southwest Ohio District, and All-Golden Triangle team. Golden Triangle, the old Journal News thing. Man, remember that? That brings back memories, doesn't it? Couch was named the All-State Honorable Mention and also named the Cincinnati Post All-Star team. He was one of 25 players selected from Southern Ohio to play in the Ohio North-South All-Star game played at Massillon's Paul Brown Tiger Stadium. He received a scholarship to Miami University and played football for 2 years under fellow Hall of Famer Kent McCormick. He also played with John Harbaugh, the Baltimore Ravens head coach, and current Miami coaches Don Treadwell and Jay Peterson. Couch transferred to Morehead State University and earned a full football scholarship from Coach Steve Loney, who went on to be a longtime offensive coordinator for the Vikings and the Arizona Cardinals. Couch was named to the 1983 Peter King All-Area College All-Star Team. He joins his father, Ron Couch, into the Hamilton City Schools Athletic Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to present to you Brett Couch. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'd like to congratulate all the other fellow inductees on the great careers and being inducted into the Hamilton City School Athletic Hall of Fame. Have you ever gone to a place that you're overdressed? You know, I'm totally going off script here because we're supposed to talk for 2 minutes. I've got about 15 minutes here to talk about. So Fred said I could have a minute of his time. But thank you for this tremendous honor. It's something I greatly appreciate. I would like to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for blessing me with the many fine people that He's put in my path. I am truly blessed. And I'm going to tell a little story here, and this goes back to Joni a little bit, and bear with me. I'll try not to cry or get too emotional or long-winded. I work at Miami University, Hamilton, and I'm the Director of Administrative Services, and one of the responsibilities of my job is that I rent out the facilities to outside groups or outside organizations. So Joni calls me and she says, Brett, I'm calling on behalf of the Hamilton City Schools Athletic Hall of Fame. I said, well, gosh, I'm thinking to myself, this will be great, get this group in here, see all these people and talk to all these folks. And then she says, I said, Joni, what can I do for you? She said, well, Brett, congratulations. You've been selected to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. And I sat there for a second. I think the first thing I said was what? Really? Wow. And it's just such an amazing honor. And I'll give you a little bit of context to that. My dad, obviously Ron Couch, when I was a little guy, the first memory I had of football was being in the middle of Barnett Stadium, calling for Dad. I must have been 3 years old. He coached for Jack Gordon, the legendary Hamiltonian. I remember getting bounced on Fred Garrison's knee. I remember talking about, the names, Dewey Baker, Cecil New, the McCormicks, Gus Mate, all these guys. I grew up around this stuff. I grew up in Fortson Heights. Top of the hill, I just met, Coach Sharp's son. He had Coach Bill Sharp. He lived up on North Durexa Drive. It's just amazing, legendary Hamiltonians. So again, I guess the first thing I could think was, wow, really? And again, as I was growing up in Hamilton, the East End, Garfield. As I went through Grant, into Harding, over to Garfield, the athletes that were there, the people there, they're just amazing. I grew up, Clint Spearman, hearing stories about Spearman. You got Larry Bowling, you got Doc Hicks, you got Jimmy Jones, you got, the Townsend boys. Just amazing athletes and amazing people. Coach Florio, I forgot about Coach Florio too. I was going to be one of those guys. I wanted to be one of those guys. So to be here tonight, to be inducted into that group, to have that thread is pretty amazing. Again, I know I'm going a little bit long here. And growing up with Dad too, I remember hearing about the great Hamilton athletes, the 1940s and the 1950 powerhouses. Again, the names, the Nuxalls, the Wilkes, Thackeras, Bowermasters. It's just an absolute amazing honor. Wow, really? Pretty cool. Go off on another little story here. One of the things that might be unique to me as an inductee here is I lettered 1 year in high school football. 1 year. That's not much. My sophomore year, my junior year were blown out, had season-ending injuries. Junior year, I kind of blew a knee out at Taft, that darn Brian Barlow. I sacked him, though. My junior year, last scrimmage game against Lebanon, had high hopes for that year, and got the pile, fell on my arm. Boom. Arm blew out, went straight up. It was nasty. You know, people that were there, I'm sure 30 years later remember it. You know, JR was there, Coach Darren was there. It was brutal. You know, they couldn't put an air cast on it. You know, JR wrapped me up. He put a board on it, kind of wrapped around, trying to keep the bones from cutting through the skin. Man, it was tough, as you can tell. I didn't cry then. But where I was going with that is I was a 16-year-old kid. You know, man, my world was crushed. But the people, like I just mentioned, and the great people in the city of Hamilton, is why I'm standing here tonight. They buoyed my spirits. They kept me going. You didn't quit. You just kept on going forward. So for that, I'm extremely thankful. Those people like you in this room, have molded me in the player I was, the son that I am, the father, the husband, the person that's standing here today. I told you I'd end up crying, didn't I? So I want to thank you. Mom and dad, family, you know, people who know my parents are great people. You know, my family was too long, I'm sorry. Thanks, Fred.
Fred, your time's up.
Yeah, really. The four most important people in my life I've got to mention. That's my wife, Judy, my kids, Lauren, Kristen, and Bryce. I'm so glad you could be here to share this honor with me, because believe me, you know, I never in my wildest dreams would have thought I was here. So, you know, wow, really? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Wonderful speech. Dr. Perlman Tony Hicks. Dr. Perlman Tony Hicks, David Tony Hicks, graduated in 1964 from Hamilton Garfield High School, where he played football under head coach and fellow Hall of Famer, the great one, Lou Florio. The halfback was co-captain of the football team his senior year and played with teammate and fellow Hall of Famer Larry Bowling. Hicks was named to the Greater Ohio League's All-Academic team. He was the valedictorian of his class, and he was a boys state representative. Hicks received a full scholarship to Harvard University, where he played football. 1 year he did not play due to an injury and was hired by an ear, nose, and throat specialist who worked with facial reconstructive surgery involving plastic surgery. He then became interested in the field of plastic surgery. After graduating from Harvard in 1968, Hicks received a full scholarship to Case Western Reserve Medical School in Cleveland. He was the first Afro-American chief resident of plastic surgery in the Peter Brent Brigham Hospital in Boston. In 1979, Hicks moved to California, and he was the first Afro-American board-certified plastic surgeon in the state of California, where they have a lot of that in California. Business is good. With offices in Beverly Hills and Long Beach. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Perlman Tony Hicks.
First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for coming out here, and also thank the committee for selecting me. In fact, when Jack Young called me, I thought he was a telemarketer. I said, who is Jack Young? And so I had to go and look at my high school yearbook, and I saw who Jack Young was. But I want to thank you, Jack, wherever you're over there. Thank you very much. I started my athletic career as a football player in the Little Pro League. I was a guard on the Rams team in the second ward. And during that time, I had a coach. His name was Alfonso McGuire. And he taught me a very powerful lesson. He said, when you get knocked on your ass, get up and keep going. And as a guard, as a guard, I got knocked down a lot because I was a little guy. In fact, my brother, who introduced me to football, I had to weigh, I think, 75 pounds, and at the time I weighed 72 pounds. So before the weigh-in, I had to go and eat bananas. So I ate about 3 or 4 dozen bananas so I could weigh 75 pounds to be eligible to play football. But football has given me a great look on life, and as I progressed through my career, I was a football player at Roosevelt Junior High School, where I met Coach Sharp, and Coach Sharp was also an inspiration in my life. He was the one who got me really involved in serious athletics. I mean, there was a 1,000-point club or 10,000-point club, and Coach Sharp said, "You got to get in there. You got to be one of those athletes." And so I worked myself as hard as I could, but I could never make 10,000 points. Anyway, going on to high school, Coach Florio was one of my great mentors. He was a great coach. You all remember Coach Florio. And Coach Florio was the first person who got me thinking seriously about college, because at that time, I'd never even thought about college. He said to me, "You should go to someplace. You should look into Ohio State, look into someplace like that." And he saw that I had very good grades, and he said, "Well, you should go to the Ivy League." I said, "What's the Ivy League?" I didn't know what the Ivy League was. I had no idea what it was. And he had a good friend, Johnny Pont. And Johnny Pont, who coached at Miami, also was coaching at Yale at the time. He said, "Well, I'm going to call my friend up, Johnny Pont, and see what he says." And so Coach Pont asked me to come out. And I went to Yale, and I saw Yale, and I liked it very much. But I met a group of guys who were going to Harvard, and I said, "Well, I'm going to Harvard too." So that's how I got to Harvard, not ever visiting the place, and not ever being in the East Coast before. In fact, I took my first airplane flight was when I went to Yale to see Johnny Pont. But since that time, I've gone on, and I've been very happy with my career. It's been a pleasure to be a doctor, to take care of people who are in injury, who are unfortunate, who cannot pay for themselves, because plastic surgery is not always just about money and about doing stars, but we also do a lot of reconstructive surgery. And I think for me that's much more important than making someone look more beautiful. Again, I want to thank my family, my sister Paula Hicks, who's here, and her husband Freeman. Please stand up, Paula, and people know you. My sister is an attorney and a council member in Toledo, Ohio. And my other sister, Patricia Hicks, she's retired from the Cincinnati school system. She's a clinical psychologist. And my lovely wife, Ilsa. And my nephew, Todd Hicks, he's a plastic surgeon as well. In fact, in my family, there are 3 plastic surgeons. So I guess I was a role model for somebody, huh? And then my good friend Conway Downey, he and I were classmates at Harvard, and he surprised me by showing up tonight, all the way from the East Coast. That was a real surprise. Again, I want to thank you very much for inducting me into the Hall of Fame, and it's a big honor, and I really appreciate it, and I'm so happy to be here. It's been 50 years almost since I left Garfield, and time goes by so fast, but hopefully another 50 more years to go. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hicks. Our next inductee tonight is Louis Lou Hurt. Louis Lou Hurt was an outstanding high school and college athlete in Indiana before coming to Hamilton in 1930 as the football and basketball coach. He coached football for 4 years. Fellow Hall of Famers Stan Lewis, Jack Smith, and Jim Hall were 3 of Hurt's senior football players on his 1930 team. In 8 seasons as the Big Blue basketball coach, he led his teams to a combined record of 134-42 for a winning percentage of 76.1%. The 1931 basketball team was the first Hamilton team to be a state finalist. Hurt's 1937 team won 24 straight games to become Ohio's first undefeated state champions. Fellow Hall of Famers who were on Hurt's state championship team were Garland Muntz, Carl Ott, and Warren Scholler. His 1938 team was the state semifinalists. He also coached Hamilton Catholic for 2 years. And then in 1946, he became the head basketball coach at Xavier University. In 5 seasons, Hurt's teams earned national reputation for Xavier basketball with major college schedules and winning records. He led Xavier to its first ever NAIA tournament in 1946. Hurt is a member of both the Ohio High School Basketball Coaches Association Hall of Fame and DePaul's Athletic Hall of Fame. Representing Lou Hurt tonight is his grandson, Jim Coons. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening. I'm very pleased to be here tonight to accept this award for Lou Hurt on behalf of his grandchildren, my brother, my sister, and me. I was always close to him. I knew him well. We were born on the same day, as a matter of fact, 56 years apart. So it's a real pleasure to be here tonight on his behalf. My wife, Maggie, and I drove down from Columbus this evening to be with you, and we appreciate that. I wanted to tell you just a couple things about Lou that you wouldn't know. He was quite a guy. He was born in Greencastle, Indiana, a small town, in 1901 and died in 1977. In between, he excited sports fans across the Midwest, and he inspired generations of young athletes and scholars during his career as a player, coach, administrator, and teacher. Lou would be very, very pleased to receive this honor tonight. I did a little research in preparation for this because I knew him well, but I didn't know a lot about his earlier years. Lou was called the Stone Wall beginning in his freshman year of high school. That was back in 1916, 1917. He got this nickname for his aggressive and dependable play as back guard for the Greencastle Tiger Cubs. Apparently, in basketball back then, that's when they used to have the tip in between every basket. I think they had a guard who stayed back, so when the offense came down, he was there. And so that was Lou's job. He was a big guy, so of course his friends called him Tiny, and that nickname stuck throughout his life. He earned all-state honors his senior year in 1920, and helped his team to a 21-4 regular season schedule. They were runners-up in the state tournament, which that was 1920. It was interesting. That was only the 9th Indiana State Basketball Championship. He continued to be a standout back guard all 4 years at DePaul University, where he also lettered in football and baseball. He was inducted into the DePaul Athletic Hall of Fame in 1990. He began coaching right out of college, and he loved being involved with sports, and especially with young people. As basketball coach in Defiance in Northwest Ohio in the mid-20s, he expanded the basketball program to permit every boy who wanted to play to get out there and play on the team. And he was the first coach in the school's history to allow black players to join the team. His Hamilton teams were great. We heard some of the statistics. I think it was 24-0 in the 36-37 year, the first undefeated high school championship team in the state. And they were known for their hustling and their great sportsmanship. If I heard it from my grandfather once, I heard it 1,000 times. He used to say, attitude is everything. And apparently it showed in those teams. Really paid off with the record that he had there. He coached there 8 years, came back for a couple of years at Hamilton Catholic, and was just 1 or 2 games short of the national or the state championship at Catholic. Took the head job at Xavier and really brought that program forward. He liked to tell a story, and I'll end with this, about the 1947 upset victory over Purdue. The big schools like that one up in Columbus like to book the smaller schools, kind of beat up on them early in the season, both in basketball and football. And so somehow Lou maneuvered the Musketeers onto Purdue's schedule, and they beat them. And so on the way out of town on the bus that night, he said, "Boys, take a good look around. We're not going to be invited back." And they weren't. Lou was an easygoing man. He had a quick smile, always had a joke, and I could still almost feel it. He had a very crushing handshake. So on his behalf, he would be very pleased by this honor. On his behalf, I'd like to accept this honor for him. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jim. Angela Harris Martin, class of 1993. Angela Harris Martin graduated from Hamilton High School, as we said, in 1993, after playing volleyball, basketball, and softball for the Big Blue. She lettered for 3 years on the varsity volleyball team for head coaches Robin Michael and Dwayne Stacy, and was named to the first team All-Greater Miami Conference for 2 years. She was named Best Offensive Player her senior year. Martin also lettered her 4 years as a member of the basketball team and was named to the second team All-GMC in 1991 and the first team All-GMC in 1992 and 1993. She was named to the first team All-Butler County basketball team in 1992 and 93. In 92, she was named Butler County Player of the Year, as the Big Blue boasted a 17-6 record under head coach Dan Brandenburg. She was the Cincinnati Enquirer's Division I Player of the Year in 1992 and 93. Martin is number 12 in scoring on Hamilton High School's girls basketball with 631 points. She also played softball her junior year. She was named the most athletic female for the class of 1993 and was a recipient of the Joe Nuxall Scholar Athlete Scholarship. Martin graduated from Ohio University with a bachelor's and master's degree in nursing health informatics. Angela Harris Martin, congratulations.
Okay, I'm a little bit taller than this. First of all, I do not like getting in front of a big crowd like these guys seem to have a pretty good job of doing. I don't know how you guys do this, so you guys have done wonderful. So I just want to first of all thank God for giving me a talent that has helped me get to where I am today, because without him we could not be anywhere. So thank you, God, for this. Thank you to my family, Patty, April, Jimmy. I appreciate you guys being there for every single game. Patty, playing with you on the team, girl, you had the most tenacity of anybody I knew, and that really pushed me to do better, and I really do appreciate having you on my team with me. So thank you so much for that. Mom and Dad, thank you so much for always being there for me. Dad, for all the games that you've attended when you didn't get kicked out for a technical or whatever. But I appreciate you being there and supporting me always. I know it was for the best for me. A lot of people think that basketball was my thing, but really volleyball was my favorite sport. And you know you truly love a sport when you can handle Dwayne Stacy taking a volleyball from on top of a referee stand and just throwing it at you and drilling it at you time after time, and that's all you wanted to do was take those hits. So thank you, Dwayne, for that. I appreciated it. But I did love basketball too, and I loved it more because of Coach Churchman. You were the best coach I've ever experienced in my life. You made the sport so much fun for me, and I appreciate every moment that I got to spend with you and playing that sport. Thank you to the board for nominating me. I feel privileged to even be thought of and considered for this this wonderful accomplishment, along with all these great athletes that are sitting up here and the representatives for these great athletes. I don't know if you know this, but when my sister called me, along with Larry Wood, who nominated me, I totally thought this was a joke, because why would they nominate me? So I too felt like this was, wow, what an accomplishment. I just couldn't believe it. I thought she was playing a really cruel prank on me. So Elizabeth, you can tell your dad finally that taking a kill to the face from a Hall of Famer is okay. So it's all right to do. And thank you also to the board for finally proving to my husband that I am a better basketball player than him. Thank you.
Angela Harris Martin, congratulations. Mark McCormick graduated from Hamilton Taft High School in 1973. After playing football for 3 years, as well as wrestling for 3 years. He also played baseball for 1 year and participated in track for 1 season. His head football coaches were fellow Hall of Famers Fred Gerritsen and Demas Jones, and fellow Hall of Famer Dave Smith was a teammate. He was team captain his senior year and was named most valuable defensive lineman and the most valuable player. He was named to the first team All-GMC, first team All-Southwest Ohio, first team All-Golden Triangle, and third team All-State. McCormick wrestled under head coach and father Bill McCormick. He again was the captain and MVP for the wrestling team. He threw the shot put and discus for the track team. He was a Southwestern Ohio regional qualifier for the shot put. He earned 6 varsity letters while at Taft High School. McCormick committed to play football for 2 years at Miami University in 1973 and 1974 for head coaches Bill Mallory and Dick Crum. He has coached high school football for 35 years, the last 34 years in Fairborn. He's also coached shot put and discus for 22 years, sending many athletes to the regional and state meets. He was inducted into the inaugural class of the Miami Valley Football Coaches Association Assistant Coaches Hall of Fame. McCormick joins his father Bill and his brother Kent into the Hamilton City Schools Athletic Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, Mark McCormick.
Thank you. Well, this is a wonderful night tonight. First of all, I'd like to thank the selection committee for bestowing this great honor of being inducted into the Hamilton City Schools Athletic Hall of Fame. I'm truly humbled to be up here associated with so many great individuals in this Hall of Fame. In particular, what's special to me is I get to join my father, Bill McCormick, and my brother, Kent McCormick, in this Hall of Fame. I'd like to thank my Hall of Fame mother, Ann McCormick, for all the love and support she's given me over all the years. I grew up in Hamilton, Ohio during the 60s and the 70s. It was a great time and place to grow up. I started my athletic career when I was about 6 years old, going out with my dad to 2-a-day practices, being a water boy, being a manager, and now, 50 years later, I'm still going out to 2-a-day practices. So I had a little bit different capacity. I've been a football coach for the last 35 years in Fairborn, Ohio. It's great to have a job where it makes you feel like you're 18 again every fall. In my time here in Hamilton, I had a lot of great role models as teachers and coaches. I like to recognize Fred Garrettson, Gus Mate, Demas Jones, Dr. Richard Nelson, Lois Tompkins, and my father, Bill McCormick, who is my football and wrestling coach. Athletics has been a big part of my life, and it comes with many great memories of teammates and friends. I'd like to thank Jeff Milbauer, David Stalls, Barry Einhorn, Dave Graffner, Dave Toops, Joe Fari, and Rick Reiser, just to name a few. I also like to say I'm going to be making a lot more memories with my grandsons, Bix and Zan. I would especially like to thank my lovely wife, Carol, and daughter, Leona, for all their support in me pursuing my athletic and coaching career. A few years ago, we had a Hamilton High School graduate, Andy Menery, come talk to our football team at Fairborn High School, and he talked about embracing the precious present, focusing on what's happening now. And I'd just like to say, I'll remember this precious present the rest of my life. Thank you for everybody being here.
Mark McCormick, congratulations. Seth Morris. Seth Morris graduated from Hamilton High School in 1999 as a 3-year letterman in basketball under head coaches and fellow Hall of Famers John Smith and Larry Allen. He was named to the All-GMC team in 1998 and 99. He is number 10 in the scoring for the new Hamilton High School with 638 points in basketball. He lettered 4 years in baseball under head coach and fellow Hall of Famer Dan Bowling. He was named the All-GMC for 4 years and the Big Blue won 4 GMC championships, including the state title in 1997. Hamilton finished 1997 ranked number 2 in the nation with a 30-2 record. They reached the Final Four, and they marched there too in 1998. And Morris was named to the All-Ohio team in 98 and 1999. He was named the Ohio Gatorade Player of the Year in 1999 and the Cincinnati Player of the Year in 1998 and 1999. He participated in the Team One Future Star Showcase in 1998. Morris was drafted by the Minnesota Twins in the 13th round in 1999. He finished his high school career with a 16-3 record as a pitcher. He continued playing basketball at the University of Kentucky and was named first-team All-Academic in the SEC in 2001 and 2002. He led UK in home runs, doubles, RBIs, extra base hits, and total bases in 2001. He was drafted by the Chicago White Sox in the amateur baseball draft in 2002 and played 4 seasons in their organization. He led the Great Falls White Sox in home runs, slugging percentage, and total bases in 2003, and was the Defensive Player of the Year in 2004 for the Kannapolis Intimidators. Morris is a member of the Association of Professional Baseball Players of America. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce Seth Morris. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. It's a great feeling to be able to stand up here tonight in front of my family and my friends and accept this honor. I want to start by thanking those who thought enough of me as a student athlete to vote me into the Hall of Fame. It's a tremendous feeling to be joining the likes of Joe Nuxall, Kevin Greavy, Marv McCollum, Larry Wood. What an honor to be forever associated with a group of such great people. Before I go any further, I want to make sure and recognize my wife, Lindsay. Lindsay, although I only met you after my athletic career was over, you have been the most important part of my life for the past 8 years. You support me unconditionally in everything I do. You are a wonderful mother, partner, and my best friend, and I love you. Along with my wife, there are many other people I want to talk about tonight. I was lucky enough to play for 2 wonderful coaches in the 3 years I played varsity basketball at Big Blue. My sophomore year, I played for one of the greatest human beings I've ever met, Coach John Smith, who is here tonight. Now, I know most of you probably remember him for stomping his foot on the ground and smashing clipboards with his fist, but I remember him as a wonderful teacher. He was one of my first coaches who taught me the importance of teamwork, dedication, and perseverance, and I will always be indebted to Coach Smith for that. My junior and senior years of basketball would play for Coach Larry Allen. I remember how excited I was to learn that Coach Allen got the varsity job after Coach Smith left. I've always thought, especially now that I'm older, that anytime Big Blue hires one of its former athletes as a coach, they've made the right choice. Big Blue is special, and only those that have been through the program and have experienced the tradition can truly understand what it means to be the coach of a Hamilton sport. I'll never forget Coach Allen's first game as head coach and my first game as a junior. It was opening night at Fairfield's new arena. First game ever in their new, and at that time, unparalleled facility. Coach Allen was a nervous wreck, just like all of us, but his leadership during preseason practices and conditioning, his commitment to his players, and his ability to instill a sense of pride in what we were doing helped us beat Fairfield that night. I also owe Coach Allen for teaching me how to shoot a jump shot. He would have me shooting jump shots up the side of the gym wall for hours. He's the guy that helped me gain that range as a three-point shooter, and never once do I ever remember him question me about shooting the ball from so far behind the three-point line. He had confidence in me and taught me what it meant to be a part of the Hamilton basketball tradition. Now, I loved playing basketball and enjoyed every second I was out there on the court. I knew where my future as an athlete was. It was on the baseball field. I played for 3 coaches in the 4 years I played baseball at Big Blue: Joe Lewis, Tim Reed, and Dan Bowling, each one playing a huge role in my development as a player and as a person. Now, I just want to say how happy I was to learn that Coach Lewis got the head baseball job after Coach Bowling retired. Again, hiring a former athlete to coach was the right choice to make, and the baseball program will always be better for that. I spent 4 years as a player for Coach Lewis, and not once do I ever remember him yelling at a player. Now, if you know where I come from and who my father is, you'll understand me when I say this. I didn't know you could teach someone how to play a sport without scaring them to death. But I want to thank Coach Lewis for making that little freshman feel like he belonged with the big boys, and I wish you best of luck this year. Now I want to take a minute and talk about Coach Tim Reed. You know, it's funny to talk about Coach Tim Reed as one of my coaches because I actually only played one game for him in my entire high school career. In basketball, I never played a game for him. And in baseball, I only played in one JV game as a freshman. So although I only played for that one game for him, I've always considered him one of my coaches and definitely one of my favorites. For me, Coach Reed is the epitome of Hamilton Big Blue. Here's a guy who has yet to catch that big break of getting a head varsity job. Yet here he remains at Big Blue, teaching and coaching student athletes because that is who he is. I have the utmost respect for Coach Tim Reed, and I can only hope that one day someone gives him the varsity job that I know he deserves. Now, what can I say about Coach Dan Bowling? A winner, a motivator, a leader, and now a friend. From now until the end of the Hamilton Big Blue, whenever someone talks about Big Blue baseball, Coach Bowling will be the first person that always comes to mind. He is Big Blue baseball. He's the one who brought 2 state championships, developed multiple professional players, and won more GMC titles than I can even count, 4 when I was there. And you know, it's funny, now that I've been removed from the Big Blue for over 10 years, I've been a Kentucky Wildcat, a Chicago White Sox, and I live in Mason now. I've always felt that I'm part of the Big Blue family, and I owe that feeling to Coach Bowling. Now, sure, there were times where we didn't see eye to eye, like the time I struck out to end an inning and threw my bat towards the dugout, which of course hit Coach Bowling. He then sat me for the rest of the game against Fairfield, a game that I know he wanted to win. But that's the type of coaching that makes players better people off the field. We're all going to have to hang up our spikes at some point, and it's the lessons from coaches like Dan Bowling that will stay with us for as long as we live. Coach, I hope the Miami players realize the kind of person and coach they're lucky enough to be around, because I know I do now. Now, they always say that you can't choose your family. But if I could do it all over again and could choose, I wouldn't change a thing. My family means the world to me. Being a player and coach for as long as I have, I've seen kids who don't know what it's like to have the support of a parent. My time as an athlete has showed me how much my family means to me. Now that I'm 31 years old, married, have a 15-month-old daughter, and one on the way, for the first time I realized how much my parents love me. If you don't have a kid, it's just hard to understand. But once you look that little baby in the face and hold her for the first time, you think, wow, now I get it. My mom, my poor mom, who had 2 boys who were only interested in sports, had to go to all these sporting events for over 20 years, all the time not having any idea what was going on. Now, well, don't get me wrong, she knew when her boys were up to bat or what number they were, but you ask her anything about the game, the score, the inning, no idea. Perfect example and one of my favorite stories about my mother. I was 9 years old playing in a minor league game over at Westside, and my mom was there, but my dad was running a little late. So when he got there, he asked her how I was doing. Oh, he's doing fine. She said, I hit 2 grand slams in the same inning. She had no idea. But, Mom, that's why I love you. You've never pretended to be somebody you aren't. You don't get sports, and that's okay because that's what makes you my mom. I'm so happy that Lindsay and I were able to give you a granddaughter, although not quite sure how much better it's going to be. You'll still be going to sporting events, just girls, basketball, and tennis instead of football and baseball. Now I want to take a second and talk about my brother. First of all, let me ask this question. When did you turn into an adult? Now, for those of you that don't know, my brother Matt and his wife Terry just had their first kid, a boy named Zane, a few months ago. It's really hard for me to believe he's all grown up. It still feels like yesterday we were fighting in the front yard over a game of tennis ball home run derby. But Matt, I just want to say thanks for supporting me for all those years. I'm so proud of what you've accomplished in life. Beautiful wife, wonderful son, great house, good job that I know you love. I'm very proud to have you as a brother. I think it's fair to say that probably 90% of the people in this room know my father. He's been around Hamilton sports his entire life. He's probably coached at least one family member of every person in this room at some point. And I really struggled with coming up with something to say about my dad, a way to put into words what I owe him. So let me just make this statement. Everything that I am today is because of him. Sure, he taught me how to throw a ball, swing a bat, shoot a basketball, but he taught me so much more than that. He taught me respect. Respect for myself, respect for others, respect for the game. He taught me how important it is to look people in the eye, give them a firm handshake, call them Mr. and Mrs. Taught me how important education is, how important my family and friends are, how important it is to do the right thing even when you don't want to. He showed me how most things in life are privileges, not rights. For example, when I got kicked off the bus in elementary school, he made me walk to school for a week to show me that riding the bus was a privilege that could be taken away. And even though years later I found out that he secretly followed me in his car on those walks to school, just to make sure that nothing happened to me, I still got the message. I can only hope that I'm half the father to my kids that he was and is to me. Dad, I'm so happy that you're now retired and coaching basketball, baseball, and football at New Miami, something I know you love. You worked for 30 years at a job that I know you didn't love. I'm sure it was fine because it paid the bills and allowed you the opportunity to see Matt and I play sports, but I know it wasn't your dream job, and I just want to say how much I appreciate that. With the birth of Harper, I've realized that it's not about me anymore. It's about what's best for her. You helped show me that, and I thank you. So in closing, I just want to say that I am a Big Blue athlete. I always have been, and I always will be. My father is a Big Blue athlete. My brother is a Big Blue athlete. My best friend is a Big Blue athlete. The Big Blue tradition demands respect from all those who are lucky enough to wear the blue and white uniform. I know that's something my family doesn't take for granted. I'm so proud to be a Big Blue athlete. I cherish every moment I spent on that field, on that court, in the weight room, in the classroom, because those were the moments that helped shape my life and turn me into the man I am today. I can only hope that current and future athletes understand what it means to be a part of that tradition. I wasn't playing for myself all those times out there on the court or the field. I was playing for people like my father who played there 30 years ago. I always knew that the tradition was bigger than me, and I tried my best to represent my school, my family, my teammates, and the community as best I could. My only regret is that I can't be more involved and give back to the school and its athletes as much as I would like. But hopefully, one day that will change. Thank you again to everyone who voted for me, and I'll never forget this night. Thank you.
Seth Morris, congratulations. Fred Rogers. Fred Rogers graduated from Hamilton High School in 1995 after running track for 4 years, wrestling for 4 years, and playing football for 3 years under head coach and fellow Hall of Famer Ed Minery. In his junior year, Rogers was football's MVP, most efficient defensive back, and won the Pound for Pound award. He was named most efficient defensive back in his senior year as the Big Blue team was the GMC champions and qualified for the playoffs. In 1994, he was named first team All-Butler County, first team All-GMC, first team All-Cincinnati, and honorable mention All-State. He was a 4-year letter winner in wrestling with 97 varsity wins and 112 takedowns as he was in the top 16 in the state. In his senior year, he was first place in the GMC on his way to winning the sectional and district titles. He was named wrestling's MVP in both his junior and senior years and was named first team All-GMC his senior year. A 4-year letter winner in track, Rogers' track coach was fellow Hall of Famer Skip Taylor. He was all GMC 2 times in the 100 and 200 meter dashes and 4x100 and 4x400 relays. He was a state qualifier in the 100 and 200, 4x100 and 4x400 his senior year. He came in 4th place in the state's 200 meter dash. He went on to play football and run track at the University of Minnesota. He was named first team All-Academic in the Big Ten in 1995, 96, and 1997. Rogers was the 1997 Big Ten 100-meter dash champion and finished in 2nd place in the 55-meter dash at the Big Ten indoor track meet. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce to you Fred Rogers.
Good evening. First and foremost, I would like to thank God for giving me the ability to play the sports that I love. I would like to thank the committee for honoring me with this honor. I would like to thank the other inductees for paving the way and setting the bar high. I would like to thank my friends and family for, being here for me. Without you guys, I wouldn't be here today. I would like to thank Coach Scribb for giving a chance. I was 5'8", 135, sophomore. He gave me a chance to get out on the field. I would like to thank Coach Taylor, Coach White. Those are my track and wrestling coaches. I strive to be the men that they are today. They were there for me through thick and thin. If it wasn't for those guys, I'm not sure where I would be. This school and this community has been the springboard for the success that has followed me through life. I've learned, I didn't think I was going to get choked up here. I didn't think it really was. I'm sitting here, I'm like, okay, all these speeches. It's right. It's kind of crazy. In Hamilton athletics, I understood that, nothing is going to be given to you. You have to earn it. And the second you stop working, someone would and could take it away from you. I also learned that if you carried yourself with respect, you respected others, others would respect you. And these are traits that I carried on to college, and, I try to carry those to my everyday life. The biggest and most important thing, I was taught during my time playing sports here was the true meaning of family. A lot of you guys won't know this, but I entered foster care at the age of 6 years old in Dayton, Ohio. I moved to Hamilton when I was 12, to my second foster home. At that time, that's when my sports career took off. And during this time, my teammates were my family. And I dove into this thing called sports. My teammates were the ones who supported me through thick and thin. Junior high, high school, my teammates were the ones that had my back. If I needed anything, my friends and their families, I was taken care of. But that's not enough. In my senior year, things started getting tough on me. And my best friend at the time, Mr. Rico Grady, he said, Fred, you can come live with me, live with us. And I did, single mom, she's already raising 3 boys. We made it work. So, I want to give a special thanks to my mom, Connie Grady, my aunt, my grandma, all my brothers, family that's there, my daughters, Kayla, Kaya, Kamari, my girlfriend, Mandy, and everyone, Hamilton Athletics that gave me the opportunity to know what a real family was. So thank you guys.
Fred Rogers, congratulations. Last and certainly not least is Greg Saraville. Fan club out there. Greg Saraville graduated from Hamilton Taft High School in 1968 after playing football, basketball, and baseball for 3 years. He served as class president in his senior year. His football coach was fellow Hall of Famer Fred Garrettson. In his junior year, the Tigers were 6-3 on the gridiron, winning the first 5 games of the season. The 1967 basketball team boasted a 13-5 record under head coach and fellow Hall of Famer Marv McCullum. In Sarah Veld's senior year, the basketball team finished with a 14-8 record, winning 8 of its last 10 games. Taft lost to Garfield in the sectional finals in 1968 when the Griffins went on to become state runners-up. Again, under Coach McCullum, he played baseball for the Tigers and was named All-GMC his senior year. He received the Tabby Award, which was the Most Valuable Player Award. He played for the Cincinnati Reds minor league system for 3 years and was named to the 1969 Gulf Coast League All-Star Team. Sarah Veld graduated from Princeton University in 1972 and has coached junior high basketball for 20 years. Ladies and gentlemen, Greg Saraveld.
Thanks very much. I don't have handouts, but I have a few props up here. I'm like the 10th batter in that 7th run inning. I know you guys are rooting for me, but if I make a quick out, I think you guys would be, I think you'd be okay with that. Obviously, I'm honored and I'm humbled to be up here with this group of wonderful people. Duke Baker, he was a senior, I was a sophomore. He's a stud. He was the man, all right? He was the guy, and I just can't believe it. I can't believe it. To be included with groups of guys, I went through the list of names. My buddies, Willie and Peyton Townsend, Clinton Spearman, my nemesis. We played them all the time. If Taft and Garfield had been together when we were 2 high schools, if we'd have been one, we'd have won who knows how many more state championships. We really would have done that. Contemporaries, Marty New, I got a good story about him. Jack Garrettson, Gary Rice, great basketball player. Legends, Joe Nuxall, Marv McCullum, and of course, Tom Jones. Tom is the one that nominated me for this award. He happens to be my brother-in-law, so I think I need to get him a Christmas gift this year. Thanks to the committee who voted me. Thanks to Ryan's Tavern, because they obviously didn't run out of beer, because you guys had to have a lot to drink when you voted me in, because I don't know how I belong with this group of people. Okay? To me, this is all about people and relationships. So I hope I can hold it together here. This is dedicated to Mom, Grandma Schnug, Uncle Leroy, and my dad. A lot of you guys knew Adrian, finest man that ever lived, role model. I aspire to be half the man that he was, and I hope someday to be half the father that he was to us, to my family. Not to forget, Mom and Dad up the street, Bobby and Nadine Ballou. I have to tell you that. Bobby was the one who fixed everything, broken bats, it didn't matter. Nadine was the best cook in the world, cheeseburgers, chocolate chip cookies, and I got blamed for stealing all of them. Thanks, and this is thanks to the people that helped form me and were so much a part of my life. And as I went through this was such a joy to go back and relive and remember all the things we went through. When you think about it, you played Little League Baseball starting at 10 years old. My career was over when I was 20. That's 10 years. That's a blink of an eye to us older folks. It was a lifetime back then. So if there's anybody young out here, savor every moment, take advantage of every opportunity, and try your hardest, because you never know when it's going to end. And someday it will. And it's just, it's so quick, so quick. Lifetime of memories. To the West Park crew, I'm naming names. Mike Gibson, Dan McGuire, some of you guys will remember this. Buddy McCullum, Larry Becker, and my buddy Bob Ballou. We played sports constantly. We played in the field. We played in basketball in the driveways. We played basketball at, I can't remember his first name, Stork's backyard. He had a hoop on the back of his garage right up against the wall. If you made a layup, you had to be tough because you hit the wall. Okay? That's just the way it was. And that's, you know, back in the day, that's how it was. That's how it was. Coaches, I'm going to go back in the annals. Doc DuBois, I got to tell a story. Doc DuBois, you guys remember this. Steal sign. It's like you're stealing money, boys. Okay? He was down third base giving the steal sign. Somebody hit a foul ball. Remember? Yes, it did. He couldn't get his hands out of his pocket fast enough. And it got him. That was Doc. Bob Sweeten was my junior high, 8th grade, I guess 9th grade basketball coach who coached Garfield, again, to the state runner-ups in 1968. Running Wilson Junior High, running the stairs. This was 8th and 9th grade. Running the stairs up to the balcony with a medicine ball over our head. He might have been the toughest coach I ever had, ever. I'm going to tell you what, he worked us hard. Darrell Rector, Coach Rector, our junior varsity. Fred Garrettson, Gus Mate, Bill McCormick, and I'm saving one guy till the end, okay? Guys who I played and had the privilege of playing amateur ball for down in Cincinnati. Hal Pennington, who was a legend. When I played for the Wilson Freight team down there in 1967. Tom Chambers, Dick Bierman, great coaches. Professionally, Bill LaJoy, George Scherger, Russ Nixon. I had the opportunity to be with those guys. And then, of course, there was Marv McCullum. And I can't believe I haven't heard it. Are you ready? Good, better, best. Never let it rest till your good is better and your better the best. You all, raise your hand if you haven't heard that. Now, my wife's uncle is Jerry Durger, who you may know. And he was talking the other night, and he claims he knows the guy that invented that. I would claim it's Marv that invented that. I believe there's probably thousands of people who said that they invented that statement right there. Words to live by. Marv was a fabulous, fabulous coach. He was my coach in high school. He coached baseball, and he coached basketball, so he was my coach. Later on, after he had passed, it was actually at my father's funeral. Dorothea came up to me and we talked for a while, and she gave me a packet of Marv's stuff. So I still have that. I still refer to it. It's got basketball plays, it's got sayings, it's got all kind of good things, and very valuable. Marv McCullum was a fabulous coach, a great human being, and just a legend. But I will say this, because I'll shorten this a little bit. When I went to play in Cincinnati in 1967 in the summer, instead of playing for the Butler County Reds, which was his team of our high school guys, he did not like me much coming back in '68. I was not on his favorite person list, as I recall. But we got through it, and we managed to plow through. Memories. I got to tell this one because, it said I played football 3 years. Well, sort of. I really was a kicker. Before that became popular, I guess. Okay? I was a punter. I was pretty good at it. But the guy who made me a punter is sitting right over there. His name's Marty New. He doesn't remember it from Adam. I was a sophomore playing scrub running back against Marty and ran one up the middle, and that was almost 50 years ago, and I remember it. I can still see the picture. I was standing too straight up. You football guys will know what I'm talking about. Marty hit me right here so hard I thought I was going to die. He took my breath away. It took me 10 minutes, at least 10 minutes, and I'm thinking, wow, that wasn't nice. That was not cool. Well, I want to say it's the next play. It probably wasn't because I couldn't breathe. I'll say 6 plays later, Fred Olds, who also played on that team, I ran around the end because I wasn't going up the middle anymore. Fred Olds hit me almost as hard. I don't know whether it was that day, the next week, I went to Coach Garrettson and said, I'm a pretty good kicker. And I like baseball, and I like basketball. What do you think? Can we work something out? So thank God. So I was kind of there for the football team. So, but Marty, thanks. Thanks. Gosh, in basketball, memories, JV team with Bob and Grady. What were we, 15-3? We set a school record. I think somebody told me Grady wasn't until Seth's team was 17-1 one year that they beat our JV record for wins. Great group of guys. John Lightbulb Edison. You know, Benny McIntosh, the funniest human being I ever met in my life. Probably still is. I love to see him sometime. That was the year we lost at UC, which we played at the Armory Field House. My uncle was the equipment manager at UC, and gosh, I could talk for hundreds of minutes about him and all that. Bob Ballou and I were ball boys down for the football game, but it was a special treat for me to play at the Armory Field House. That was my junior year. We got beat by Coleraine bad, actually, by 19, but so be it. But it was fun to be there. That was also the year the Fuller Five won the intramural championship, I do believe. That was Bob Ballou. So, senior year memories, again, just tons and tons of them. We got to play at Crosley Field in the district finals. Again, we lost that. We kept losing. I don't know if it had something to do with me or not, but it was a privilege to play at Crosley Field. And again, just playing with wonderful guys, wonderful coaches. The relationships were great. Just unbelievable experience, and so blessed to do that. The end of my senior year, I was drafted by the Reds, graduated, went to the senior prom, got on an airplane, flew to Tampa, Florida, 18, and really never came back because in between playing baseball, I went to school all year and I played baseball in the summers. So I went down to play at Sarasota for Bill LaJoy as the manager. Scott Breeden was one of the coaches down there, a Hamilton guy. Hit a stellar 221 that year, and that was actually one of my highest averages. That's one of my handouts I got. If you want to know what Seth did, I got him right here. We were talking about it, you know. So, yeah. I did have a better ERA than Seth. I pitched to one batter in my very last game, and I got him out. So I have a 0.00 ERA in professional baseball. Read it. You can read it. 1969, I had the privilege of playing for George Sugar in Bradenton. That was my first year. I had an opportunity to play with Ken Griffey Sr. Again, quite an experience. And I'm going to name some names. And again, that's why I brought this. This is a picture I got. You can't see it, but this is true. These people are on here. Anyway, 1969, again, I had a chance to play with Raleigh Eastwick, Dan Dreesen, my first year with Griffey. In 1970, I went to Sioux Falls, South Dakota. You got to hear this, and I got to tell you this story. Our record was 24-46. We finished, I think I was telling Seth, probably 10 games out of next to last place. I want to name names. Manager of that team was Russ Nixon. See how good your memory is. On that team, Tom Carroll, Pat Zachary, Gene Locklear, Will McEnany, Joel Youngblood, and Ken Griffey Sr. And I must have been really bad to drag all those guys down so far to get that record. It's to this day. That's why, literally, I have these guys autographed. I got them right here because nobody believes me. They say, "You're kidding me. You couldn't." Anyway, but that's true. That's a fact. December 1970, I remember it vividly. Got a letter. Got a letter. I don't know whether, Seth, you got one of these. I hope you didn't. God, it's painful. Got a letter from the Reds saying you've been unconditionally released. 10 years. I go back to 10 years. It's over. I always thought I'd go back and play the next year. I always thought I'd have it again. That was it. And so again, I'll go back and remind anybody, you got young kids, you coach kids, you tell them it's short. I mean, you take advantage of every opportunity. I tell my guys, I was talking to, I think one of the gentlemen down here, I tell my kids, you can never try harder yesterday. You got an opportunity, you got to do it. You got to take advantage of it. Okay? Anyway, finally, I'm going to close. And I have to thank God and my Lord Jesus for all the blessings that I've been given in my life. And truly undeserved, truly undeserved. This is where I'll get bad. There they are. They're all at that table right there. My son Ryan, his wife Kelly, my grandson Howie, who's at home, my other grandson Tucker, who's in Kelly's belly, my beautiful daughter Lindsay. God bless her. She'll always be my little girl, and she knows it, and so she takes advantage of me all the time. My beautiful wife, Terry. My stepson, Curtis, who's not here tonight, who's a sophomore at Moeller, football player, or tries to play football. He's had 3 knee surgeries, so we hope he'll be better. Kathy and Betsy, my 2 favorite sisters. You're my only sister. Okay. Brother-in-law Tom, and my good, and it's a good way to close. My best friend of all time in the whole world who came from Nashville, Bob Ballou. Gary Kraft, who's been friends for a long time with me, who shares a very funny and famous story about Munfordville, Kentucky with me. Anyway, I'll just leave it there. Grady, who played, and I know, like I said, it was good. I kind of reconnected with Grady a few months ago or something. It was good to get to see him and talk to him. So proud of the fact that Seth is up here with him. Grady was a pretty good athlete himself. I can remember he and Dan McGuire and I were always fighting for playing time, and Marv always liked Dan best. I never quite understood that. But anyway, but thanks to everybody. Thanks to you guys. Thanks to you guys for listening. God bless you all. Let's go have a beer. All right.
Greg Saraville, congratulations. Well, there you have it. The 2012 Hamilton City Schools Athletic Hall of Fame inductees. Once again, give them a big round of applause. Wow, what memories. We do have a couple of people we'd like to thank tonight. Once again, Larry Wood and Joni Kopis for putting this all together. They said, don't say our names. Are you kidding me? Without you guys, we wouldn't have this, okay? The Hamilton School Board. We also want to thank Superintendent Janet Baker, Mike Delapina, the Hamilton High Athletic Director, Jack Young for the invocation tonight. We also want to thank Jostens for the beautiful watches our inductees have received tonight. TV Hamilton for their coverage. That's sure to hit the airwaves tonight, right? Oh. and the Journal News for their coverage. Again, thank you for coming tonight. We look forward to seeing you again next year, and have a very safe trip home. Thank you very much.